That's mine right there. Yeah, I own you and you own me. I will kill everybody in here about your ass. Please understand that. Some days I'd be willing to trade my man for a really good what?
Pool boy.
A good what?
I'm sorry.
What did you just say?
3 days before she got married to Steve Harvey, we talked. And she told me, she said, Jimmy, she said, Jimmy, you know what, Steve, he's so much like my dad, you know?
I've never seen them have anything that I ever wanted. If you sign up for their program, you get a light-skinned, weird-faced wife.
So now the internet is once again side-eyeing everything Katt Williams said about Marjorie Harvey, because new rumors are spreading fast online. According to blogs and gossip pages, people are claiming Marjorie may finally be done with Steve Harvey, and things got even messier after allegations surfaced accusing her of getting too close to members of the staff, including a bodyguard and even a chef. Steve has already denied the cheating rumors publicly, but what really has people talking is the fact that Marjorie has stayed completely silent throughout all of this.
Not the first word I ever said to her was, I don't know who you are, but I'm gonna marry you one day. That's the first thing I said.
For people who have followed the Harvey family drama for years, though, these rumors do not feel surprising at all. Critics have always questioned Marjorie's past and the way she entered Steve's life in the first place. Steve first met Marjorie back in the early 1990s at a comedy club, and according to the story they constantly tell, Steve looked directly at her and confidently said he was going to marry her someday. The story sounds romantic on the surface, but many people forget that Steve was still legally married when he made that promise.
When I think about how quickly he moved forward from me to Marjorie, that was disturbing.
At the time, Steve was still struggling financially and trying to establish himself in comedy, and according to longtime rumors, Marjorie was not interested in living that broke lifestyle. Instead, people claim she became involved with wealthy men who were connected to the streets. Meanwhile, Steve and his first wife, Marcia, were raising their children together. Twin daughters Brandy and Carly, along with their son Broderick Jr., but according to Marcia, the marriage eventually collapsed because Steve allegedly cheated with multiple women and abandoned the family while she was still pregnant.
Took my Winton from me. He turned my son against me. Had me evicted from our house. Thrown out. All the businesses, all the money, the cars. At a moment when I was down and devastated, he maneuvered everything. He manipulated the courts, everything against me. He went to court and under oath said that on his own he had built this whole thing by himself. And I just sat at the table and cried. I cried through the whole thing, and I fell apart.
Their divorce reportedly became extremely messy behind the scenes. Reports claimed Marcia had to take Steve to court over unpaid child support and alimony after he allegedly failed to make the payments he was ordered to pay. But by that point, Steve had already moved on with his second wife, Mary Shackelford. Years later, Mary came forward with explosive accusations of her own and claimed Marjorie slowly pushed Steve's biological children aside, while convincing him to focus more attention on her own children from previous relationships.
Because what I think about, was he scared? Who was hitting him? Was it her? Was it him? Was he out of his clothes? Was he screaming? Because he couldn't have had clothes on for his back to get cut up like that. And even at 10?
Marjorie had 3 children before marrying Steve: Morgan, Jason, and Lori, and Steve officially adopted all three after they got married in 2007. Over the years, many fans noticed that Steve appeared especially close to Marjorie Harvey, which led to constant speculation online about whether his biological children were treated differently inside the household. Critics have repeatedly pointed to the family dynamic as proof that Marjorie had a strong influence over Steve and the way he handled his relationships with his kids.
Was he thinking about me? Was he calling to me in his head? And how can you shame a young man like that when they're going into their man, strip him down like that, and you just beat him till he bled? How do you take a belt and you wrap it around your hand, buckle part hanging? You're beating him with that. So much so, I saw the impression of that buckle inside of his thigh to where it must have just wrapped around him like a whip.
Marjorie's past relationships have also remained a huge topic online for years because before reconnecting with Steve, she was reportedly involved with men connected to major criminal cases, including Jim Townsend and Darnell Woods. Both men eventually ended up serving prison time, while Marjorie herself was never charged with any crimes. After those relationships ended, Marjorie eventually reconnected with Steve right as his career and public image were reaching another level, which only fueled more speculation online about her intentions.
I know that as a mother, if I was ever in a position to where I had to be in charge of somebody else's child, I definitely make sure they have a great relationship with that child. But I just don't see how Marjorie, in particular, can call herself a mother to her own children and deliberately try to sabotage my relationship with my son. I don't really get that, because personally, you know, even if it was a vengeance vendetta thing, it's like, who did harm to who?
According to Steve's second wife, Mary, everything changed once Marjorie returned to Steve's life. Mary alleged that Steve suddenly abandoned their marriage and quickly replaced her with Marjorie. She also accused Steve of taking their son Winton away from her and using his celebrity influence and financial power to gain control over the situation. Over the years, Mary's accusations have remained some of the darkest and most controversial claims tied to the Harvey family.
I've never seen them have anything that I ever wanted. If you sign up for their program, you get a light-skinned, weird-faced wife that never do an interview. Listen, in 20 years, won't do an interview. Nobody's ever talked to her, and she's never been interviewed anywhere. And now, understand, I'm not talking about one person. What I just told you applies to 7 people.
Things became even more disturbing after Mary later accused Steve of being extremely harsh toward Winton while he was living with Steve and Marjorie. Mary claimed she saw marks on her son and alleged that Steve punished him severely over small issues like homework. According to her, authorities were reportedly notified at the time, but no charges were ever filed. Mary also suggested that Marjorie may have played a role in creating distance between her and Winton, although none of those accusations were ever publicly proven.
Thanks to my wife, I'm where I am. You said that about the first wife. You forget that? You told us it was her, then you went and married somebody else that think like a man. Like, what are you talking about? They think they can rewrite history.
Now with fresh cheating rumors surrounding Marjorie, social media users are once again bringing up Katt Williams and his viral comments about Steve and Marjorie during his Club Shay Shay interview. Katt suggested that many Hollywood relationships are more strategic than genuine, and fans immediately connected those comments to the Harveys. Some blogs are now even alleging that Marjorie had affairs with members of Steve's staff, including a longtime bodyguard nicknamed Big Boom. None of the rumors have been confirmed, but that has not stopped social media from turning the situation into another massive celebrity scandal.